That's a beautiful song which Jews from around the world will be singing tonight. And the song includes the words of Manishtana. Why is this night different than all the other nights from the whole year? And Jews from around the world over many centuries asked these four questions to a tune. Maybe not this tune in particular, but to a tune over many, many centuries, over many, many years, over many, many generations. Why is this night different than all the other nights? Jews have always been asking questions. And by asking questions, their brain went digging for answers. Of course, when you ask questions, you have to find answers. That's how the brain works. I heard this from Tony Robbins. I've heard this from many other mentors. They say, when you ask questions, you start finding answers. Your brain goes seeking for answers. Tonight is Passover. And on Passover, Jews are going to enter a state of liberty, of liberation, freedom. And in that state of freedom, they're going to be closer connected to God. And they're going to recognize their godliness. Well, Jessica, what are you talking about? Why are you predicting such a thing? How could you predict such a thing? I'm not predicting. I'm just telling you what Passover is about. It's about asking questions, and it's about digging for answers. I'll tell you a little story. You ready for a little story? Before I tell you the story, I want to sing to you the song of Manishtana. I have yet to master the art of singing and playing at the same time. I could probably master it if I put my head to it, but I've yet to do it. Haven't done it yet. I'll sing it to you. מה נשתנה הלילה הזה Mikol Alelois, Mikol Alelois. Why is this night? Why is it different from all the other nights? Duality. From all the other nights. Shebechol Halelos, because all the other nights. Anu oichlim chomei to matzah. We eat leavened bread and the matzah bread. Halayla hazeh, but this very night. Kula matzah. This night we only eat matzah, not leavened bread. Shebechol halelos, because on all the other nights, anu matbilin shetei peyamim, we dip in 2 times. Halayla hazeh, but on this night, I got that wrong. Shalosh pamim? I can't remember. I got that one perhaps wrong. Own up to it. On the night of Passover, we ask questions. Children ask questions, and adults ask questions. We ask why. Why is this night different? When there's difference, there's duality. When there is duality, there is hitnasut, which effectively means the ego, which thinks it's greater. Why? Why do we have to live with this ego? Why do we have to live with it? Why can't we just say goodbye to the ego, love everybody unconditionally, and move along with life? That's what we want. And the celebration, the festival of Passover, symbolizes that. It symbolizes equanimity, full peace and liberty. Nonetheless, there are many, many differentiations which Jews adapt over the festival of Passover. Why? Why do they adapt so many differentiations? And why is duality such a crucial element of Passover? Isn't it supposed to be about liberation? Isn't it supposed to be about liberty, about freedom, about connecting to God without any strings attached, without any conditions, welcoming everybody? Why? Why don't we actually look at Passover and adapt those ideas pertaining to Passover? I know you're wondering what's with the story you promised us. We'll get back to that in a minute. But let's get to answer this question. As human beings, we need differentiations. We need duality to get on. We live with an ego. That ego needs to feel better, needs to feel different, needs to see a demarcation, needs to see a difference in order to be able to be reminded and to be able to feel the spirit of Passover and to be able to feel those feelings of hitromemut, of greatness, of elevation. But really, in reality, Passover is not about differentiation. Passover is about freedom, liberty, and without attachments. When you have attachments, that doesn't get you to the next level. When you're attached to a situation, when you're desperate for results to be a certain way, when you're desperate to see differences and differentiations wherever you go, you're clamped. You're a hostage, really. Okay, but let's get to it. Jessica, you were kind of critical there of Passover, but at the same time, you were seeing the good in it. Let's get to the bottom of this, Jessica. Where do you sit with this? I'll be honest with you. I sit in both places. differentiation, hitnasut, which effectively means an egoic mindset, and also I'm also within the belief of hishtavut. It's all the same. What? Jessica, that doesn't work. You're either here or here. You're possibly thinking to yourself right now, where's Jessica going here? Are you here or are you here? Are you into differentiation, into ego and duality, or are you the same? Make up your mind. We don't actually have to make up our mind because we live in this world, and whilst we're living here, we're going to still go back and forth. We're going to still dip our toes into holiness, into spirituality, and then fall back. And that's what you have to remember. That's what I'm trying to portray here. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. You're going to aim for perfection. You're going to aim for hishtavut, which effectively means equality and equanimity and peace and bliss in all areas of life, all places in your life. But you're going to deal with life, which is going to come facing at you, and you're going to possibly move back into that place of duality. In other words, you're going to aim for perfection, but you're not going to necessarily get to perfection. And that's my message here. That's the hardcore of this message here. Yes, we ask questions. Yes, I talk about contrasts. Yes, I talk about duality. Yes, I talk about differences. But at the same time, we need to be aware of the fact that we live in this world. And whilst we aim for perfection, we still have to deal with duality. You know, duality is really not a pleasant thing to deal with. And I want to get past it. And I'm inching closer and closer and further on this spiritual journey, and I'm finding my successes as a result. But I'm still not where I want to get to. And that's okay. Yes, that's okay. Now let me tell you a little story. There were Jewish people who were in a concentration camp, in a concentration camp for that matter. I'm not sure if it was Auschwitz or Dachau or Birkenau. And the festival of Simchat Torah, the festival of commemorating the finishing of the Torah, had arrived. And many Jewish people were excited. They reminisce with nostalgia the great fun memories they had. Remember the times that when they celebrated the festival of Simchat Torah, during times of peace and happiness and joy. They were surrounded with their family, they recalled. And here they were, stuck in a concentration camp. And at any moment, their life could be taken away. The situation was bleak. But one person turned to another and said, hey, we have other people here, other Jews here. Let's sing songs, reminisce those good times, and feel good feelings. And they started singing. But when they first started singing, they made sure to not sing too loud so as not to awaken the suspicion of the Nazis, not to catch them. They don't want to be killed, right? Now, as they started singing, their voices got stronger and stronger and stronger. And they were singing in unison. They were very happy. They sing the great, beautiful song of Mipi Kel Yivorach Israel. God is great. And from God's mouth it was expressed that Jewish people are blessed. His people are blessed. They sang the song, and a few moments later, a Nazi soldier walked in. Fear overtook them all. The Nazi turns to them and asks them, what were you just singing? They said, we were just singing happy songs, reminiscing a festival which we celebrated before we were imprisoned, hoping that you would leave them alone. He turned to them and said, "What was that song about? Was that song about calling for our destruction?" The main leader of the group said, "Look, it was not about calling for destruction. No, heaven forbid. We were just talking about the greatness of the Jewish people, how the Jewish people survive many challenging circumstances, and God has helped them and has saved them from dire circumstances, and He will continue to save them and help them despite the persecution and despite difficulties and challenges." The Nazi soldier said, "What? You people are crazy? You still believe that? After we've done to you guys, after what Hitler has done to you guys, you still believe that?" He said, "Such a people Hitler can never really kill out. It's impossible." And he asked them, "Do you guys really believe in that?" And there was one individual who was not religious. He was secular. He didn't believe in God. He didn't believe in the Jewish people anymore. He said, "Yes, I actually believe that." And the entire group was stunned. How this one individual who they thought to be a secular person, an atheist, a person who had no connection to anything spiritual, to anything godly, they realized that that spark could be awakened by that individual. That gave him a real shake, reminded them of their greatness. And here's another story. There was a child who turned to his father in the concentration camp and he asked him, "Tonight being the night of Passover, is this the last time that I'm going to be asking you the 4 questions? Is this the last year this is going to happen?" The father turned to the child and said, "No, I promise you, there will be another child next year within the Jewish community, within the Jewish nation, who's going to again ask those 4 questions." Because Jewish people asked 4 questions, despite the persecution, despite years of hatred against them, despite being hated, despite being ignored, forgotten, abandoned, and hated upon, they were able to survive. Ask questions. Don't stop asking questions. Because when you ask questions, your brain's going to dig for answers. And when you dig for answers, you could get out of any situation. Sometimes I wonder, why has God put me in this predicament? In my predicament, a lot of people have abandoned me, so to speak. They've deserted me. They've ostracized me. They've taken my children away from me. Why? Why did this happen? And this night of Passover, I take the time, this period of asking questions to answer this question. And this question is answered with the following. This happened to me so that I could dig deeper, so I could connect to God on a much, much deeper level. That's why this happened to me. Had I not experienced this experience of ostracization, of abandonment, of having my children alienated from me, I wouldn't have gone onto a spiritual path, and I wouldn't have known and recognized and connected with my Creator on a much, much deeper level than ever before. I never would have done it. And I've saved my life, and I've gotten to see who my real friends were and who wasn't really my friend before. Not many people get to see that. That's why it's worth it. I went digging for answers, and my brain went to find it. Remember to ask questions, and also remember that duality is okay. So don't get stuck in duality. That's the idea. Yes, duality is okay. We do certain things, we mark certain occasions in order to know what's happening, because we live on this world, and that's how we experience the experiences here. But don't get stuck in duality. Go on to a journey of liberation. You deserve it. It's Passover. Wishing you a happy Passover, And a happy Easter to those of you who celebrate Easter. I love you all. You're important to me. I look forward to your amazing feedback. What do you think about these amazing stories I told you tonight? Today, actually. And what do you think about my playing on my guitar? Do you want to see more of it? And what do you think about duality? And what do you think about asking questions? I want to hear your answers in the comment section down below. Mike, thank you once again for your amazing feedback. I'm ever so grateful. I love you all. You are so important to me. I love you.